Before we begin, we need to lay down the foundation. What is edging? Edging is basically when you watch the dirty videos, you touch yourself to the dirty videos, but you don't climax. This may sound like a good thing at first sight. You're staying where you want and not releasing, You are getting the good feeling, and that's the reason why we do this habit without completing the bad habit. You're so excited. You have been on NoFap for 20 days and you have finally cracked the code. You have found a way to enjoy the benefits of masturbation without actually masturbating or releasing anything. You still have your energy inside you. It just feels so good. It's like masturbation, but without the bad feeling afterwards. You try it out for the first time and you are excited. You can't believe the gem you have dug up. Now I'll never fap, you think to yourself. You tell yourself one video and you end up opening like 30 tabs with multiple videos. You watch the first video and edge yourself. It is somewhat successful and you're still dumbfounded at how incredible your new discovery is. Guess what happens next? Do you finish the quote unquote one video and go on with your day? No, you don't. You then spend the rest of your day watching porn because it feels so good. You take a look at the time and wonder, how is it already 11 p.m.? It was 9 p.m. just like a second ago. It felt much shorter, didn't it? You didn't think it would be over this quickly, did you? And behold, it is just then when you realize you have opened Pandora's box. Okay, so edging has a lot of negative effects, but the most obvious one is that you can't get away with it forever. Assuming that you intend on keeping this habit for long, one day an edging session will get out of hand and you will feel terrible afterwards. However, I do believe there is a much deeper reason why edging is just bad. I mean, think about it. You're watching the dirty videos for hours and hours and hours on end. If you plan on watching only one video, good luck with that because your brain will harass you in order to get the stimulation it so desperately desires. Edging feeds your porn addiction in a way that PMO never could. You are stimulating your brain. Okay, let's just break down what you're doing, okay? You are stimulating your brain with pornography for hours upon hours upon hours, and your brain is getting used to this immense feeling of pleasure and it's making it the norm. The level of stimulation you get from porn videos should not be the norm, because let's imagine a scale from 0 to 10. If what you're doing constantly is an 8, then 8 will be the norm. Anything below that will just be boring and dull and, then getting that dopamine hit, doing the bad habit that makes you feel really good is an 8, or anything above that, you'll only feel that. Watching porn releases a chemical called dopamine, and I'm not really going to go deeply into dopamine because that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother different video. But what you need to know is that dopamine is a chemical released in the brain that makes you feel good, and that having the right amount of dopamine is important for both your body and brain. Let me repeat that, having the right amount. Not having too much dopamine, not having too little dopamine. You need to balance it. It is literally, you need to balance it. Keeping dopamine at a very high level will mess up your dopamine receptors and it leads to addiction. It is responsible for how much pleasure and satisfaction you get out of life. And with edging, you are doing exactly that. Your brain wants to feel good, so it asks, what could I do right now to feel good? And edging comes along and it becomes a normal habit that takes up hours of your day, if not all of it. All with the excuse of, I'm not climaxing, therefore it is okay. It is not okay. I want you to think about this. Why are you doing nofap in the first place? Really, genuinely, think about it. Everyone can have their own reasons and their personal goals. But to me personally, and I think to other people as well, watching dirty videos numbs the reward system in your brain, the dopamine system. Now, sexual stimuli are some of the most overstimulating things there are, and dirty videos, images, and anything sex related will provide those stimuli in a very unnatural way. It floods the reward system and it numbs the dopamine system. And when the dopamine system is numb, we lose the pleasure, the satisfaction, the motivation that we are getting out of life in the first place. We become dopamine seeking zombies, scratching our necks for the next dopamine hit. The we, quote unquote, sounds like an addict here, and that is because it is. We are avoiding climax because it has benefits, all the while feeding our porn addiction, which we are trying to get rid of in the first place. How absurd does that sound? It's like the guy who smokes, is addicted to weed, for example, and he just doesn't finish the blunt when he smokes it, he just smokes half of it. That's literally what we're doing. I mean, sure, maybe it could be a little better than smoking it all, but it doesn't matter that much. You're still getting high. Or not even half, maybe 3/4. Because there's only one thing that you're missing here, and that is the orgasm. Whether we climax or not matters so little in comparison to if we watch the dirty videos or sexually stimulate ourselves. By watching the dirty videos, you are destroying your dopamine system. You are watching these dirty videos, looking at dirty images, and yes, even imagining the dirty scenarios counts. There is not a single excuse to get around this. You have to come to the fact that what you are doing is not what you should be doing, and that it is not what you want yourself to be doing. I would like to compare a normal fapping session with edging, okay? In a normal fapping session, you gradually take yourself close to that peak, increasing your dopamine, and then climax. At climax, you reach a peak, okay? And at climax, it just goes down. Just severely goes down. Significantly as well, yeah. However, when you are edging, you gradually take yourself close to the peak. You keep yourself close to the peak for hours and hours and hours. And you just stay there. Then you wake up the next day and you are aroused again. And you continue what you were doing for hours and hours and hours again. When you edge, you allow your addiction to take you to the end of the cliff without jumping off. And more often than not, you fall. Masturbating and looking at porn while refraining from orgasm not only gives you blue balls, edging makes it impossible to stop. It's like recovering a heroin addict with a locker full of black tar he looks at. Edging is like if an alcoholic held an open bottle of Coors Light while watching Sports Center, promising himself that he is going to drink. We know that he's gonna drink. Okay, so at this point, masturbating and just releasing it would be far more beneficial than edging yourself for hours and not actually releasing anything. Because with the normal fapping session, you will just come post clarification basically, and you will know what you're doing, and you'll hopefully feel bad about it, which you should, because you shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. But I'm not saying that you should replace edging with masturbation, because that's just scope. Masturbating every day conditions you to masturbate more, and edging makes the problem worse. How about this for an idea? You should stop watching porn altogether. Just don't edge when you feel the urge. Instead, understand that you are in a nofap emergency, an overwhelming urge to relapse. Do something physical when you feel that urge. When an overwhelming urge comes, get the energy out in a different way. Because when an urge comes, it's like, oh, the way I'm saying comes is not good, is it? Okay, but when an urge arrives, let's be a little more classy here. When an urge arrives, it just arrives at your door. Uh, yeah, but really, when you get an urge, okay, it is because your body has excess energy that it needs to release, and it is really powerful energy because like sexual energy is really strong. So like it needs to out, just go out, you know. That's why you feel the overwhelming urge because you just feel energized, and that's why you feel depleted afterwards because you have just released the energy. Just do something physical. Drop to the floor and do as many push-ups as you can. 5 times in a row, you won't have an urge anymore. That is a great way to release that energy. Or just go to the gym or something. And if you find yourself still with this urge and it's unbearably strong, then releasing in this particular case only. Because why I stress about that, because most people are going to be like, oh, I have an urge, they do like 3 push-ups and they're like, I still have the urge, oh no, I'm no, you know, like just play it out. But you're not playing it out for me, you're not playing it out for you, you're just playing it out for the wall next to you or something, because no one is buying it, not even you, and no one else is in the room. So maybe if the wall believes you, it'll say that, hey, he didn't fab, bro, hey, he tried. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Just actually do the thing. But it is in this particular case, edging is not gonna be good, and you're going to have to release. And just get it over with. You'll feel surprisingly great actually, because you have avoided edging and saved an ungodly amount of time. Just don't edge under any circumstances. Hey, I'll even say it is better to release that energy in a different way. But if it comes down to it and you really have no other choice, and the urge is still unbearably strong, like releasing the energy a different way do didn't do it. You could look up like workouts or something on YouTube. You could just be like 10 minutes something workout and do it. Then just shower or something. That's probably a good idea. And if you still have excess energy after that, I mean, you should compete in something, bro. Because with that much energy, it is much better to spend, kind of, yeah, like spend it on something. It's not money, but that's the only term that came to mind. Like, put it into something. That's probably a better explanation than just splurt it out, you know. But if it really, really, really does come down to it, then you're gonna have to splurt it out because you need the time. You need the time that's going to get wasted from edging. So yeah, I hope this helps you, and just don't edge